Generally, when people look back on home video rental, it is through the lens of the memories they made, renting tapes, discovering movies, spending time with friends, family, browsing the store shelves, the consumer side. But there was an entire industry within the industry that most customers didn't see, and that is how studios promoted their films to video stores. VHS rental used to be big business, and to sell tapes of their movies to stores, or convince stores to carry them, studios produced promotional screeners that would serve not only as a trailer for the film, but also the tape as a product. That is what we are going to be looking at today on the Videocast, how VHS promotional screeners worked, the different approaches studios took, as well as several examples from well-known movies. As always, I'm your host Brian. Patreon.com/PixandPortraits is how you can support the channel. Tons of exclusive content over there. Videos, my book, The Nostalgia Economy, should have a vlog up, hopefully, in the next week or so, detailing our experience collecting in Portland, including at this year's Portland Retro Gaming Expo. $5 get you access to all this and more and helps keep the channel going. So if you like what we do and want to help make it happen, please consider supporting us. Now, we mentioned VHS screeners in a recent video. It's something we've covered in the past, but I'd like to start with a quick overview of what they were and what studios hope to accomplish with them. I think the best way of thinking about these is they were like trailers to build hype for home releases of movies. They could come separately or were tacked on a promotional copy of the movie. However, they were not intended for public viewing, and so the tone is a little different. The target audience for these was home video rental stores, also retail, more independent places than, say, a Blockbuster. Instead of focusing exclusively on the movie itself, how good it is, what critics are saying, these screeners heavily highlighted the financials. Being aimed at businesses, marketing budgets are outlined, how much support you are going to have, TV spots, fast food tie-ins, merchandise, toys. They will hype it up, so people are going to want to rent it or own it. It's all about how much money you will make. There were a few different styles. Sometimes it was for one film, but it could also be for a studio's output. Some had a voiceover. The best, in my opinion at least, were the ones that took place within the world of a film and had appearances by characters. So yeah, that's basically why VHS screeners were made. I have found a pretty decent collection of them here. We're going to be running through chronologically. That should give you an even better idea of what and why they were. This video is being produced pretty deep into spooky season, so we will be seeing a lot of horror movies, but many of these tapes were released in the fall during the lead up to the holiday season. This sometimes informs the tone or marketing, like in this screener for the home video premiere of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1986. 2 years after it was released in theaters, things used to move much slower. It starts by putting over the movie, how much money it made, how great it is, saying it will make home video history. It's advertised as $29.95, which is on the cheaper side. Many tapes went for much more, approximately $86 today. I say this all the time, but we keep media with us. We watch movies, or at least familiar with them. But the marketing material, signage, shelving, posters even, get forgotten, and that's why I love these. This outlines all the marketing stuff, standees, posters, banners, this display rack, which I've actually seen in a secondhand store before. Also included in this promo is another one for Paramount's Special Collectors Series, which is a bunch of their movies re-released with new packaging and a price, $20, $57 today. Media, video, used to be very expensive. Millions of dollars in advertising support is promised through traditional television, cable, radio, and magazines, the world at the time. We will see as we go on that bigger movies, blockbusters, were released at a lower price point because they would sell a lot. It's why so many copies are available even today in thrift stores. But moving on to one of my favorite examples of VHS screeners, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Starts off with a basic voiceover that gets interrupted by Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, who goes over profits and marketing. There is a sizzle reel of various media appearances and mentions, mostly about how much money the movie grossed, how successful it was. The doc and music video for Dream Warriors is plugged, MTV, it was the 80s. More marketing stuff, including this awesome standee. I'm sure these are very collectible today. There is also a sweepstakes announced where the winner would get to appear in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which I also found a screener for. Very seasonal, Christmas, Santa Claus, a festive scene is interrupted by Freddy, just like in the third one. Very much the same sort of material as 3, but there are some great shots of Freddy with Christmas lights and a stocking at one point. Rounding out A Nightmare on Elm Street, we have this screener for 5 from 1990. Studio execs talk the budget, if enough copies are going to sell to justify what is being spent on marketing. One of them falls asleep and finds himself confronted by Freddy. This is the framing device for the exec to go over all the details, which we've seen before, but this is the first mention of multiple versions of a film being released, the theatrical cut and an uncensored version. One of the edges home video had, or has, over theaters was the fact that movies released for home viewing were not subject to the same content guidelines. Horror movies benefited from this the most. Gore, more extreme content could appear, and that is a selling point here. This is one of the more elaborate screeners we will see. Tangentially related, we have this screener for Friday the 13th 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Hockey themed, which is weird. I get the mask, and it was filmed up here in Canada. But definitely a choice. Standard stuff, but if a store bought 3 copies, they receive these great lights with Jason's mask. Another different take, Total Recall. The film star Arnold Schwarzenegger is front and center here. He is the biggest star of the decade. His movies have made over $1 billion. Something else weird about this, it goes over the numbers, marketing, etc., but also compares consumer interest in films released around the same time, saying people are actively waiting for Total Recall to come out. Other popular releases will include a trailer for it. Schwarzenegger himself will show up again later, but his T2 co-star Robert Patrick promoted that film's release on video in this amazing screener. Dressed like the T-1000, Patrick promises this will be the biggest event in the history of video. This was going to be in demand, and the studio was sending out copies to stores in the dozens. For every 12, stores got a shirt, hat, and sunglasses, apparel. Because so many copies were being sent out, eventually they would have to be sold, so a previously viewed program was incorporated into this campaign, which is a first for us here. It was actually branded with T2, very cool. This release was massive, but it would be shortly topped by Jurassic Park, the biggest film ever, at least at that time. We've talked about this marketing a few times. It's fast food tie-ins, it's merchandise. This movie was huge, and its home video release was eagerly awaited. Similar tone to the T2 one, the gross, the marketing. I don't want to spend too much time here, because again, we've talked about it before, but I love this movie. I love these shelves with the moving doors. They came in multiple sizes, so many different tie-ins. This was massive in every sense. The same year Jurassic Park came out in theaters, Dead Alive was released on video, directed by Peter Jackson, who would go on to make some of the biggest films ever. He got his start with low-budget horror, and Dead Alive was something of a breakthrough film for him. Very gory, as is highlighted by interviews with theatergoers. There was a fashion gala held in support of its release, a candy dispenser with the iconic image on the poster, an unrated version, definitely apt. Mortal Kombat, 1995, banger soundtrack. This screener offers stores multiple copy packs. If you buy enough, you get a scratch and win game, so customers can win a bunch of merchandise. 1997, Batman and Robin, which I have a soft spot for. Schwarzenegger returns. Unlike earlier in the decade, this and the next movie we'll be looking at were not good or very well received critically, but they were still massive releases where a lot of money was spent to make, market, and sell them. By the time the video came up, the reviews were in, but still, money was spent. This tape cost around $23 when it came out, $45 now. Mail-in rebates on other Batman-related products are offered, on things like batteries and Hamburger Helper. I like this movie, unlike the next, which I teased, 1998's Godzilla. The tone here is very of the time. Duracell is going to assault the country with its cross-promotion. It brags about the quality of the TV shows it's going to run commercials during. DVD is mentioned for the first time for us. Standard floor displays, posters. Yeah. The trend of VHS screeners really died out around the turn of the millennium. These things no longer had to be physical. They could be an email or a PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, we really don't see them into the 2000s. Now, this was not meant to be exhaustive. Feel free to share any memories you have seeing these or working in a video store. What were some VHS releases you looked forward to? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and again, if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Feature Film is over there, looking at the feature movies, tons of other videos, my book, The Nostalgia Economy. You can also become a member here on YouTube or give a super thanks. Everything helps. Patreon.com/PixandPortraits. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.